was Raymond, the husband of a black woman who was talking with Bill, and Bill told him that he had stomachache. So Mr. Raymond gave to him a paper bag with a bottle inside, and he told him to drink that to swallow his stomach. Suddenly, when Scout realized what was happening, she warned Dee to don't drink that, because it was whiskey. But Dill had already drunk it, and he said that it wasn't alcohol, it was Coke. When Mr. Raymond heard that, he explained to the children that he wasn't an alcoholic. He just wanted to justify his bad behavior, and he said that to the children because he thought that the kids were the ones who can make a significant change in the world. At that time, Atticus, the scout's father, was also in the court defending the black guy, Tom Robinson, for raped Mayella, a girl who was supposedly drugged. But what anyone knew was that she was in love with Tom. Atticus believed that Tom was innocent, and for that reason, he was defending him. In fact, when Atticus had to say his argument, he said, "All men are created equal, and this doesn't mean that everyone is just as talented as everyone else, but that everyone is equal under the law." And finally said to the jury, "In the name of God, do your duty." Aunt Alexandra sent a note to Atticus saying that the kids were missing, but a couple of hours after they were found. After all the afternoon spent in the court, Atticus sent the kids with Calpurnia, and they agreed that they would return to the court, but Jem and Scout thought that it was strange because the audience usually left the courtroom once the jury deliberated. After that, James said that they had won the case, but the reverend said that he's never seen a jury support an African American man over a white one. 3 hours later, while the audience was waiting patient for the deliberation, and in that time, a Scout woke up and she realized that the time for the judge's deliberation. Finally, the judge found him guilty. Atticus said something to Tom just after he kept his papers and left the court. While Atticus was leaving, the African American in the balcony silently stood up to honor him.
When they left the courthouse, Jim started to cry because he thought that the decision of the judge was unfair. In fact, Jen always thought that Macon folks were good people, but it didn't seem like that to him anymore, since no one stepped up to support Tom Robinson. Atticus said that everybody needed to deal with the fallout, and the reasons was just as much a Macon standby as missionary these are, but Atticus affirmed to the children that the process is not over because there was an appeal process. The next morning, Calpurnia showed Atticus that the black community had bought food for the Finch family. Miss Maudie told Miss Stephanie that the fact that the Judge Taylor chose Atticus to defend the case was not an accident, because he may have some reasons to name him in it. After some time, Miss Maudie had a good point in which she said that the judge wanted Tom to have a good defense and fair trial. Indeed, they said. They even thought Atticus didn't win. He made the jury and the judge think about the decisions for a long time, as he was a very good lawyer.
After all this situation, Atticus received a threat by Mr. Ewells, and Atticus jokes about that attack in spite of the kids who were still terrified from the Mr. Ewells threat. But Atticus told the kids that nothing bad would happen to Tom until the appeal, and says that which might have a better result than the original trial. While this was happening, Tom was at the Enfield prison farm, 70 miles away from his family who can see him. Atticus said that if Tom loses the appeal, he will go to electric chair unless the governor allowed it or not.
When this discussion finished, Jem and Atticus start to discuss about the fairness, and Atticus revealed that he knows who kept the jury from convincing Tom right away. It was a cousin of Mr. Cunningham the night before the trial, but it was delayed by Scout. So, after this discussion, Scout decided to be friends with Cunningham, but Alexandra thinks it's a bad idea because the Cunninghams are the wrong class. After this situation, Jane tries to keep her calm down, and they have a conversation where they make a classification or types of people. The ordinary who were the Finches and the neighborhoods, the ones who live in the woods like the Cunninghams, the ones who live by the dump as the Ewells, and finally the African Americans. And because of this, they try to understand the aunts Alexandra talks, and they went to the conclusion that people are just people, and that's all.
In August, Alexandra invited her missionary circle to the tea. Scout wearing a dress helps Calpurnia bring in the tea, and Alexandra invited Scout to stay with her ladies. Scout listened to the missionary circle first discuss the bad situation of the poor Murnas, an ignorant African tribe being converted to Christianity, and then talk about how their own black servants have behaved badly ever since Robinson's Legion issue. Miss Mary shut off their rapidly talk with easy remarks. Suddenly, Atticus appears and calls Alexandra to the kitchen. Scout, Calpurnia, and Miss Mary that Tom Robinson attempted to escape and was now shot 70 times. He takes Calpurnia with him to tell the Robinson family of Tom's death. Alexandra asks Miss Maudie how the town can allow Atticus to ring himself in pursuit of justice. Maudie replies that the town trusts him to do right. They return with Scout to the missionary circle, like nothing had happened. Summer has begun, and Jem and Scout are on the back porch when Scout notices a fatty bag. She's about to smash it with her hand when Jem tells her not to do that. She deftly places the bug aside. When she asks Jem why she didn't have mashed it, he replies that the bug didn't do anything to harm her. Scout observes that it's Jem, not she, who is becoming more and more like a girl. Her thoughts turn to Dill, and she remembers him telling her that he and Jem run into Atticus as they start home from swimming during the last 2 days of August, to let him accompany him to Helen Robin's house, where they saw her collapse even before Atticus could say that her husband Tom was dead. While the news occupies making attention for about 2 days, and everyone agrees that it's typical for a black man to do something irrational like try to escape. Mr. Underwood writes a long editorial condemning Tom's death as the murder of an innocent man. The only other significant reaction comes when Bob Ewell is overheard saying that Tom's death marked 1 down, about 2 more to go.